is the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Joy Kingwell and Krissy Vann. That's me. And we're taking you on a little off-roading.
And every single week, we're going to be joined by our dope friend, Richelle from True Grit Moto.
Woo! Hey, I floss.
And every week, we're going to ask each other stupid questions, and we're going to answer them. And why, you may ask? Because we can. All right, this is your Motovation.
Off-road edition. I'll go first. Get the ball rolling.
Okay.
What was awesome as a kid, but sucks as an adult?
Awesome as a kid, but sucks as an adult.
Staying up late. You know, when you're a kid and like, you're just like, wow, I stayed up till 11. Like, and then you're a teenager and you're like, just 2 a.m. and you're just turning off your show to head to bed or parties. Like staying up late was the bomb.com as a kid. And as an adult, I'm like, oh, I'm going to pay for this for weeks, days, weeks. And like, I feel I feel myself just going, oh, it's getting close to 10 and I'm nowhere near my pajamas or brushing my teeth. I haven't even made it home. And I already feel the gravity of the consequences. Whereas like, as a kid, I would just be like, oh my God, it's 10 and I'm still awake and I am bad to the bone. So yeah.
I'm doing it.
I forgot how celebratory it was staying up late as a kid.
Oh,
it was a big fucking deal.
It was.
The best.
Yeah.
I was the opposite though. I didn't want to stay up. I'd always be in bed by like 8. I'd be like, yeah, I'm staying up. And then I'd be like, I'm sleepy.
I didn't make it.
I was always sleeping, man. I remember my mom taking me to like her friend parties and the music would be bumping and I'd be sleeping on the floor in front of the speaker.
Yeah, remember sleeping on the coats
Let the bass
at the
just
weddings or on
The
the
coats?
tables?
Yes.
Yeah.
Always the coats. Why don't we
Always.
sleep on coats more?
Oh, I
should
do.
do that.
That's all my bed is. It's just coats.
It's a big pile of
So,
coats.
yeah.
Just bringing it
That's what I
back.
do. Yeah, that's all. That's what I do. But yeah, there's even like parents, you know, and I understand it where they're like, oh, I got to get them home. I got to get them to bed because they obviously do sleep better. But you think of our childhood and you're just like, you just got plopped in a spare bedroom until your parent came and
1000%.
scooped you up. And like, I don't even think you got put in a car seat. You just got like fastened to your mother's chest with the seatbelts. And you were just
Your
like,
sleep
right.
schedule was on their time. They were like,
Yeah.
screw you. You get to just be a mat on the floor that we will step over.
I have a
Was that
card game to
problematic?
play,
Because I
right?
liked it.
No, I don't.
Still
I don't
could do that.
I don't know. I get it. I don't know if, you know, I'd like to think I'd be the parent that plot my kids on some coats, but I feel like I'd be the one that's like, look, kind of like I am now. I will pay a price if this sleep doesn't happen. And I'm not willing to pay that price anymore.
I shit you not. I was at a party this summer. So we're talking 2022 and I'm not judging the parenting choices, but as I say that, I'm like, yeah, there's a little bit of judgment because it was like a really like intense party. And it was late in the night, like 11:30. This group showed up and I don't know who drove because everyone seemed to be a little woohoo. And all of a sudden there was a baby at this party. So I knew a baby had arrived. Lost track of baby through the night. And now I'm like heading into Loopyville and I literally was having a conversation with someone on a deck. And all of a sudden I was like, and like grabbed them. And I was like, there's a baby behind you just outside on a deck. No, like with the amount people were like stumbling around, like somebody definitely could have like knocked over the baby. I don't know.
That stresses me. Right out.
That makes me feel like I'd be like,
that is no.
I
this
love
is my
the
child
island
for the rest of the night.
I love the island. And I know things are laid back there. That was an ultra laid back choice that I bore witness to. It literally, and then it was kind of creepy because I was like creepy baby in the darkness. Like I'd done some mushrooms, so the eyes were just like, ah.
Oh
like,
no.
Are you there? I don't know. I'm like, clearly I can't be responsible for your life. I am in no state.
Was it happy?
I mean, it was silent. Is that happiness?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
usually.
good.
That
good.
baby was like, living my best life. This is amazing.
And it was
What I
like,
get to
as
look
I
forward to.
say, it wasn't like a dinner party or anything like that. It was
like a rager.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were on mushrooms, I could only assume that. That party
Well,
was a good
normally
time.
That's a nature activity for me, but I was
Yep.
like, I felt safe and happy and full of the people. Honestly, when the babies started arriving, actually there was just one and things got real crazy. That's when I was like, it's my time to go. See you, baby.
See you, baby.
Oh my God. Well,
How about
let
you,
me tell you
Richelle?
mine. Let me tell you mine.
Okay.
I think when I was younger, I really liked playing house and like
Yes.
paying bills and like, making mud pies and having friends over in my little forts. Even if there wasn't friends and it was just like, a puppet or something. And
Oh, bless.
it's not the same for me now. It's like a little bit less exciting. It's kind of like, oh, I gotta pay for this and like all the bills. And do I really love my place? Like, oh, I feel like I'm kind of stuck here, but am I stuck? And then I think to myself, like, if I was little me, and my partner Megan does the same thing where she goes, little me would love this fucking place. And I'm like, yeah, little me would love this place. Like, this is dope. And at the same time, I'm kind of like, I just wish it was little me that had this opportunity here and that was that, but it's not the case.
Could pay with Monopoly money.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, that's a big one for me.
Make me some $100 bills, my crayons.
I got my Canadian Tire money. I'll pay for it with that.
That was the best.
That was the best.
And when we played house as well, you'd play with vacuums and shit too. And that seemed like a fun idea at the time.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to put myself in that mindset next time I
You
fire up that bad
like,
boy.
oh,
and be
thank God. I always loved vacuuming. Here we go.
Let's get into those corners.
I remember watching adults like my parents and them sitting at a table with papers everywhere when it came to tax time. And they were like doing my taxes. And then I'd be like my aunties and she'd be doing her taxes and there'd just be papers everywhere. And I remember that was one of my first moments that I was like,
no,
I never want to grow up. And so I did grow up, but then I made sure I married somebody that was a chartered accountant.
Oh, smart.
So that I've never had to sit at that table / computer.
I have done that table. I can confirm it sucks. Unless maybe you're the chartered accountant and that's fun for you.
No, it's not fun. He does
torture.
not enjoy it, but he doesn't look at me and say, maybe you should help out because he's like, nah, I got this. You can't do simple math. And I was like, you're not allowed to go anywhere ever.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
So my thing that I loved as a kid, and I think sucks as an adult, kind of on the stem of playing house, but was grocery shopping. So I used to have at my friend's house, they had a treadmill. And we would pretend that was the conveyor belt and I would load like my items on and then they would cash me out. And I was like, Genius. This is a dream. And now, especially with inflation, when I'm like, cool, I'm going to get something for dinner tonight. And I'm like, awesome, just spent $200. It's not
for a loaf of bread.
For a loaf of bread.
They're like, it's a half loaf, ma'am. Oh. And it's also a day old.
But also, like, you're very smart with your money, both of y'all. With this, so
I'm married to a money idiot.
I was gonna say, and I married somebody that is smart with money, so therefore I had to become smarter with money. I wouldn't call myself smart with money. I would say I'm smarter.
Is it because we're getting older, or because
too?
Yeah,
for sure, because we have no choice. I'm like, I just, it's not. I used to be that person that just spent whatever I had until I didn't have any each month. And then I just didn't, ate pickles till I got paid next.
I love pickles.
Oh, I love pickles. The honey Dijon ones these days.
Mad.
We digress. Laurie's like making a point. We're like, fucking pickles.
No, I jumped on the pickle wagon and I actually forgot the point I was making. So
yeah. Right, Laurie, you up?
Oh, is it me? Okay. What natural disaster scares the poop out of you as far as like if you were, because obviously only certain ones can hit Vancouver. So let's say, tsunamis, tornadoes, avalanches, all that shit. Like, what's the one that scares you the most? So if it's avalanche, you'd be on a trip skiing or whatever you would be doing. But like, what's the one that scares the most poop out of you?
Can I be like super like real time?
No.
Yeah.
Global warming.
Well, what do you mean?
That's a natural disaster, is it not?
Well, yes, but like,
Like it's happening, and I'm like,
Well, caused by like a lot of unnatural things for sure.
it feels like
Right.
though I asked, like, what's your least favorite vegetable? And you were like pizza or something. Like, it feels like you just, or topping on pizza. And you were like pizza. Like, what's
feel
your
like-
one within global warming? that
or it's like if
scares
she
the
said
most?
GMOs.
Yeah.
I think, like if I think of like an avalanche or something like that, I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, sure, I'm gonna die. Like that sounds like an adventure. And then if I think of
Okay.
like flooding, I'm like, well, you know, like flooding is a natural disaster, but we make it. You know, we figure it out. And then I think tornado. Well, if I get stuck in a tornado, yeah, that's gonna fucking suck. But yeah, what another adventure. Like the
None
thing
of them
that
scare
scares
you then. None of them
the
scare
thing
you.
that scares
You're
me the
pretty
most
okay
is
with
the-
all of them.
yeah, is the thing that you don't see coming is the natural disaster I hate thinking about, because I'm like, oh God, like I don't know how to survive that. Like I feel like we could come up with a plan for pretty much everything else, but the ones that you don't see that are natural, like when the dinosaurs got hit. Okay, natural disaster,
Okay.
a fucking meteor, and the world. I think the world ending would be my most scary natural disaster.
That's my,
At
that's
least
my,
we're all
like,
going down together.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that's my top. Like, if I could
That's
choose
the
one to
ultimate.
have happen, it would be that, because it would be done in a hot second. I'd be like la da da dee la dead. La da da
God.
dead. Like we're all just
Right.
like poof, we're dead. And like you don't even have time to feel pain. You don't even have time to like worry if like, yeah, like boom. I don't have to be like, oh, did Dave and my friends survive it? Dead. Everyone, we're gone.
Right.
It's done. So like to me,
Everybody's dead.
everybody's gone. We're gonna go into an afterlife together. Boom, let's go
Right.
party there. Like that to
Amen.
me is like, oh, okay, I can do that one because I don't have to technically do anything.
You're like
I don't have to survive
Dead
anything.
wherever you are. Like that wasn't too
Boom.
bad. That was pretty
Yeah.
easy.
I'm not even here to have a thought or feeling about it. Boom, all of us gone. So
And
I
I-
love how that's your scariest, because that's like
For
my
sure.
like if I had to choose one, which that wasn't the question technically, but as you said it, I was like, "Ooh, that one doesn't scare me at all." That one, yeah.
I'm excited to
Mine,
hear Krissy's
earthquakes for sure.
earthquake. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yes, definitely. Like if you're in the PNW, there is a 30% chance in the next 50 years the big one will come. So get an earthquake kit. And yeah, honestly, mainly because a lot of people don't realize one of the biggest threats in an earthquake is fire. So when buildings collapse and there's issues with natural gas, etc., sparks, what have you, that fires happen. So a lot of times a building may collapse, or there may be collapse in a building, and it's actually fire, smoke inhalation that get people before they're able to rescue them.
Oh.
Yeah, there's the whole part where your infrastructure is so fucked up you can't reach anybody. So let's say it happens and you're separated from your loved ones, you can't find out if they're okay. And you also can't get around. Your faces are like, oh dear God, this sounds
Oh my, I just like my jaw was dropped, and Richelle, you didn't look great either for sure.
Yeah,
I was just like,
ironically,
thank God we all have bikes.
Why did I ask
if
this
you're around
question? What is
any
wrong with
tall
me?
buildings that aren't, so you know, in like the city of Vancouver, for example, we have a lot of buildings with that blue glass. That's like earthquake safe glass, but we have a lot of old buildings that are not. So
Like the one I live in on the 25th floor.
one of the most unsafe things you can do is just like run out of a building into the streets, because shit that's falling or unstable or falling glass is a huge concern. So my husband and I actually have a meeting spot that if
Can I know
Shit hit the
where it
fan.
is, please?
it's right by
Where do you muster?
Red Truck Brewing, because there's not any high buildings in that area. There's still
Ah.
enough open space, and we can go get beer. Yes, we will loot.
Yeah, I love
Sorry,
this.
Red Truck.
Love
Yeah,
it.
but we will loot. Okay. Huh.
Okay. I'll see
So
you
now
there.
that I've given everyone a concerning crisis, but seriously, you should have an earthquake kit or
We
some
do.
sort of thought process around that, because
And that is real for Vancouver. Like that is something that could happen here.
Yes.
So
definitely, and like a lot of people
Not could,
as well,
will happen. We
Yes.
just don't
Will.
know when.
And on top of that, we focus so much here on the big one, which basically is referencing like we're on like the Cascadia subduction zone. So it would lift one plate to another. That's why would be a huge tsunami risk as well. But they forget there are so many fault lines. Like anywhere you have mountains, it's collision of plates. So it's not necessarily the big one that might be the concern. If a smaller earthquake happens, but shallow, so closer to the surface, then that can be just as detrimental. Never mind that you end up like Richmond on a flood bed, has liquefaction. So basically, like imagine like the ground just turning into unstable mud everywhere and like oozing out of the earth.
Why did I ask this?
Laurie.
Why did I ask
But
this?
it's so fascinating at the same time. I made a whole career for like 7 years looking at the shit. And
I'm so glad you know this stuff.
It's bittersweet because I find it fascinating too. And then it also haunts my dreams. I just watched the documentary, oh Lord have mercy. It's about the
was it about Jesus?
Earthquake. It's about Jesus. It was the earthquake in Nepal back in 2015.
Oh yeah.
It's on Netflix. It's really good. It's like a 3-part series. And so obviously there's avalanches involved and the collapse of buildings and all those kind of things. Right. And I guess I never really thought of the chances of, because I'm thinking that these buildings in Vancouver are all built really well. So the chances of them collapsing are so much lower until you just spoke to this. So my original answer was like wildfires, because like watching other documentaries, like there's another one, Paradise Valley or something in California. There's a documentary done on like the wildfire that like completely flattened that town within like a half hour or something crazy. And I was just like, whoa, that's terrifying. And then now what you've described, I realize it's the earthquake within and out, like within fires, that I was like, oh no. Like
But the earthquake will happen first and then the fire and then, oh my God.
So now my answer is like, well, the earthquake's gonna bring the fires, and the fires are gonna, and then it's all gonna, and I don't wanna. So I'm really now looking forward to a meteor.
Yeah, you're looking forward to my worst nightmare.
Before it was like worst case scenario, best case scenario. Now I'm just like full stop, best case scenario.
Meteor. We're team meteor on this podcast.
Yeah, team meteor. Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay, here's a good question. Okay, it's an important topic. Okay. What do you guys do? Okay, like for say like your peace in a day. Like, what do you do to give yourself peace in a day? Peace of mind, peace of life. Like, what do you do?
Oh, okay.
I mean, truthfully, and I know that we speak to this on the podcast a lot too, but I find gratitude goes such a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I literally, and I mean, it's funny because in the episode that we just released recently, which we haven't, I'll have to cut that part, but we will by the time this goes, regardless. Yeah. Like I found that I was starting to pick up my phone again in the beginning and the end of the day, because now my job is way more social media heavy than it was previously. And it's not even that I'm utilizing it as a consumption tool of mindless. I'm like, what's the trending thing? What's this? And I'm so quickly becoming attached to that being then the first and the last thing that I'm doing without being mindful about it. And I caught myself in that. And so now it's like making the practice of that alarm goes off. And instead of necessarily hitting a smooth snooze button, it resets for 8 minutes that I literally lie there and just think of the things that I'm grateful for, whether that's just in general or something that happened the day previously, and then do the same thing before I go to bed at night. Like putting the phone down and taking the space to have that. I find reading a bit before that at night is effective because it just kind of quiets my brain a little bit or slows it down from that constant feed of like new video, and then make the space. But gratitude, 100%.
Yeah, these phones are definitely taking away our peace a little bit.
Oh, even before the phones though, I used to wake up every day and like, not to be a Debbie Downer, but the truth of it was I genuinely had wake up and was like, oh God, I got to do this all again today. And just like, I'll make the most of it, but I don't really enjoy this thing we called life overly. And it was gratitude that I don't feel that way on a day-to-day basis. I don't wake up and think, I've got to do this today. Because I wake up and I write down and I focus on how, like all the things that are so fucking great about life and all the things that I'm grateful for. And so that is my piece, because before that, I used to wake up very differently. And so that's been the only thing that I could say is like the game changer.
And it could be small, like, oh my gosh, I can wiggle my finger. Like, look at hands. Hands are so crazy.
Look at your hands right now.
Look at them.
Except if you're driving, then wait till you're parked and then look at your hands.
And if you don't have a hand, that's totally fine.
Right.
Fair.
Look at your feet.
Yeah.
And if you don't
Those
have feet,
are awesome too.
then I'm just happy you're alive.
Yeah. Then you're.
A lady said to me,
you can do
on the walkway the other day. She said, I think you might have seen this on my Instagram. She said, "Hey, you've won. Even when you lost, you won."
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did someone just like walked past you and said that to you on a trail?
Yeah, every morning. Okay, so here's my thing. Every day, it's my new path is I do 5 deep breaths 3 times a day. And I go for first thing in the morning, a half an hour to a 1 hour long walk. It doesn't matter what's happening in life. I do a half an hour or a 1 hour long walk. And the other day I was doing my walk and it was along the seawall and I had my coffee and I was just walking and this lady, she had pink glasses. I'll never forget it. And she had like kind of like one of those carriers that you bring groceries. She looked, like maybe homeless, or she just was wearing clothes that suggested,
right.
And she was talking to herself, kind of like just like having a full conversation with herself. And I just looked at her and I smiled at her. And then I kind of slowly kept walking. And then she was like, "Hey." And I was like, "Hi." And she was like, "You've won. Even if you've lost, you won."
Oh,
and I was like,
I love that.
Okay.
I also appreciate that there was like a seagull or bird in the background that gave like what you said, this really lovely nature sound for a moment, like in this amazing moment.
Bird. Yeah, I know. I felt that.
Right.
But I was just like, oh my God, like, wow, that's so true. Even
That's
when
special.
you've lost, you've won. And it was so deep and so sweet. And then she just kept walking, talking to herself. And I was like, I will never forget that. So I thought that was really cool. And I was just like, if I hadn't been doing these half an hour, 1 hour long walks, that was for my mental health and every day, I might not have ran into that lady. And it totally changed my day. It was amazing. Yeah.
Too cool.
Super cool.
Pretty epic. I also love things like that where the person will never really know the impact of the words, but I feel like there's a ripple effect out there.
Definitely.
I'm just going to start saying that exact line. Just to everybody I see.
Yeah,
like,
everybody.
Hey, they're just like, I heard you say it to the lady behind me. You can't just it's got to be a moment. No, fair. Okay, I'll try again tomorrow.
I'll come back. When you don't see that other lady, I'll say it to you specifically.
I'll have 5 just go-to lines that I say to help just chuck it out like like a free hug. You know what I mean? Like it's technically a verbal free hug that you just give out to folks.
Hey, you won, even though you lost.
What have you managed to avoid your whole life?
Doing taxes.
Oh my God. Taxes. How did you avoid? Oh, because
Dave.
You're so genius, man.
Also, there was 4 years where I just didn't pay my taxes. And then I started dating Dave and I was like, hey, how bad is this if you don't pay your taxes? And he was like, isn't that good? And then, but it turns out it wasn't so big of a deal because the government owed me money because of going to college and so forth. So
the other way around is not
they weren't looking for me. They were hoping that they were like, yeah, that's fine. You keep doing you.
You got this.
And I'll keep taking more of your money, which I love to do because I'm the government.
I've been lucky. I get a lot of refunds. I don't know what it is.
That's
I don't know.
gorgeous.
I hope they don't listen to us.
I need a new accountant.
Yeah.
I would suggest mine, but he's not good either. So
I've avoided breaking a bone. I have not broken a bone in my 35 years of
Knock on
existence.
some wood, but I'm
Like,
with
have you had an almost?
No, like I mean, I fell off my motorbike and I still like my elbow's still weird and constantly red and bruised for some reason, but I got it x-rayed and they were like, "You're good." And I was like, "Why does it keep oddly swelling?" And it still does, but not broken. So that was probably like in my head, that seemed like the easiest equation to lead to a broken bone, but
yeah,
I don't know. And I'm not very flexible or bendy. So it's amazing that one hasn't cracked under the pressure, but here we are.
I haven't broken a bone before either, but I definitely have bent some things that I'm unhappy about. Like a finger or an ankle.
Oh yeah.
Ankle rolls suck.
The pain, I was in such pain after an ankle roll the next morning, just like lightly stepping on it, that I actually fainted in the bathroom from the pain.
Oh,
yeah. That was the level. They're horrible.
Yeah.
no bueno.
No bueno.
What have you avoided?
Yeah. What have you avoided, Richelle?
Well, I had like right from the hop, I was like, the first thing I thought of was literally like, I thank God every day. Cause I always think I'm so scared of it, is literally cancer. Like, I think to myself, everybody I know has had like some kind of scare or, and I just like every day I wake up and I'm like, wow, I can't believe that I so far have not had that talk with the doctor yet. And I just am always just like, how do I avoid it? How have I avoided it? I would
like you to not be thinking about that. Can I make just a request as your friend?
I know.
Like, if you hyper focus on this,
I know
you are literally telling your cellular metabolical that
I feel like a lot of people do think about it. They think when
should not.
Yeah, it's tough, right? It's so
no, I
scary.
get it. My grandmother, my grandfather, my aunt had it twice. My grandmother had it twice. Like it runs rampant in our family. But and I'm like, I'm not getting it. Like I actively just do not allow myself to go there, because it being hereditary, or it being so common isn't the scariest part. It's the way which we also view it, because you can actually change your like cellular, with like negativity and stress and all those things like that in your, and I'm not saying that solely it's what causes it, but you bet your ass it plays a big deal. So
I did, I had a beer the other day, and the beer butterfly pea flower.
Kisses.
Butterfly pea flower. Have you ever heard of butterfly pea flower?
No.
Oh, it's purple. And a lot of people use it in drinks right now or beers because it turns the drink or the beer purple. However, if made into a tea, it's an absolute, like the benefits of the butterfly pea flower are insane. And I ordered a whole whack load of it because I was like, oh, I must have this tea. But it's like an antioxidant. It does help with reducing cancer spread or cells from building. It's like there's all these different things. And I think to myself, the butterfly pea flower, and it's really hard to find as a tea. And, I think, if I'm going to break a bone one day or whatever, but I think about the immunity and internally the things that I've really avoided in life. I'm like, I really avoided like some crazy stuff. And I'm kind of like, I eat McDonald's every now and again, and I don't smoke a cigarette, but for sure I have a drink, and I work in this industry. Like I breathe brake cleaner every day. And I'm like, how the hell am I avoiding all this? And I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to start treating my body better and really like actively making it not avoidable, but like addressing it and taking care of it.
100% on board for
totally.
Right? Broccoli sprouts are one of the top foods that you can eat. We eat them almost
broccoli
daily. Broccoli sprouts, specifically broccoli sprouts, are one of the biggest cancer fighting agencies within them.
And they just happen to be tasty and easy to add to food. You just went off-roading with the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Joy Kingwell and myself, Krissy Vann.
And of course, a special thank you to Richelle from True Get Moto.
Whoop, boss it.
Never miss an episode by hitting like or subscribe. Connect with us on Instagram at Motovation Podcast and visit our website at themotovation.com. And in the meantime, full tanks, full throttle.
I think this is good though. It's like healthy, you know, like people will be like, oh my God, I don't floss.
Plus, it'd be so hard not to laugh to get through this intro.